There is a current controversy happening in the scholarly world, the Jewish world in North America, around the rehabilitation of a prominent Jewish sociologist and professor who had been accused of harassing and assaulting many women who worked with him or who were in an inferior power relationship to him. A statement by the Association of Jewish Studies Women's Caucus states, recently, it has come to the attention of the Association of Jewish Studies Women's Caucus that Cohen, in conjunction with several other senior scholars in Jewish studies, has been hosting private, invitation-only Zoom conversations about American Jewish life and the study of American Jewish life, rehashing old ideas about Jewish continuity in an effort to capture philanthropic funding. The group has been inviting other scholars and communal leaders to participate in these sessions, which are centered around discussions of the group's agenda. Of course, these scholars are free to have such conversations, but we want to raise concerns about the perils posed by these off-the-record gatherings, especially for vulnerable early career scholars. Now, there's much to be said in this case and in general about a Jewish take on what is needed really for teshuvah, on the Jewish responsibility to warn in the case of someone who is known to be a danger, and the possibility of continued abuse, the abhorrence of in our text of the abuse of power relationships, and more. But on this Shabbat HaGadol, Shabbat, as we're about to dive into Passover, I want to draw on one line that really stood out for me in this statement and tie it into an obscure detail of our upcoming Passover celebration. This statement talks in a derogatory and dismissive tone about rehashing old ideas of Jewish continuity in an effort to capture philanthropic funding. This is often also a complaint of mine and others of my colleagues. Even this week, I've heard complaints that the Holocaust, anti-Semitism, and Israel are our only battle flags, our only issues that are brought forth as a Jewish community, that they are the source of the philanthropy which flows into our institutions, and they are the plan for the continuation of Judaism. Let's take a look at this idea in the context of hunting rabbits. Yes, you heard me right, a rabbit hunt. Rabbit hunts feature on the opening pages of many Haggadot from the Middle Ages. Jag den Haz, hunt the hare, or Yak Nahatz, the acronym for the beginning of the Haggadah, on a Saturday night like this Pesach is starting, brings many pictures of hunters chasing after rabbits. Jewishly, you'll notice the texts are all about the beginning of the Seder, and this is an acronym: Yayin, Kiddush, Ner, candle, Havdalah, Zman, often abbreviated with this mnemonic. The mnemonic refers to this agenda of how we start a Passover Seder on a Saturday night. As it occurs this year, you pour the wine, you bless the wine, you light the candle, often transferring the flame from an already lit candle onto a double twisted wick, and then recite the prayer that ushers out the Sabbath, blessing this Passover day. Scholars ask, why? Why the hare? Why? What's going on in these stories? The hare, as we know, is not a kosher animal, not a traditional Passover Seder food. There's often dogs chasing the hare. And the answer scholars give is that this appears in the medieval Haggadah in Europe as a metaphor for the Jewish people and persecution. Jews in Europe themselves felt hunted and hounded. And a prominent feature of these rabbit hunts in many of these Haggadot is that the rabbits escape. As if by miracle you'll see them into the fences here, and then on the following pane, they slip through safely, and it's the dogs that are caught by the fence. These miracles, this escape, this is the Haggadah. This is the story of Passover, the story of the Jewish people. Me'avdut lecherut, from slavery, from bondage to freedom. Helping others escape as well on this journey is a central part of our story. This Passover morning, I know we'll talk about this in the context, this trip from bondage to freedom, from slavery to liberation, from the narrow places to a place of opening, in the context also of the Asian community, and as Jews helping to be anti-racist. This is our lesson and our mandate as Jews. This is why we are Jews, to continue this path towards freedom. We can dwell on the picture of the rabbits being caught, being snared. We can focus on that first image of the hunt. But this is not how our story is told. Yes, we were slaves, and now we are free. This is what the Eternal did for me, and what's my responsibility to do for the stranger. Wine, candles, marking the time. But in our journey, in our story, we don't dwell on those moments of capture only, but we know that Jewish continuity, Jewish continuation is told best with the moral, the journey, the miracle of cherut as well, celebrating, loving, and being enmeshed in the goodness and joy of our Judaism. So as we gather together around our seders, as we sit, some of us outdoors in small gatherings, some of us on Zoom with those far away, we smile and we enjoy the freedoms that we are given. And remember that yes, once these were our battle cry, and yes, we were once slaves, but now we must reach inside ourselves and find the value and the worth of our freedom. Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom.